Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are in the P.I.L.L Method Club. You also have the opportunity to watch us online this morning, and it's going to be a good day. So listen, we've got 2 shares in. Let's go ahead and share this information out a little bit more. Go ahead and share it. If you're in the room, share it out. Say something in the chat. I'm going to say good morning to everybody. All right. And there we go. Put a little sunshine in there. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Listen, I need you all to come to the stage this morning, and we're going to be talking about internet advice, whether it's on Clubhouse or whether you see it on YouTube or TikTok. All right, it really doesn't matter. But there's a lot of advice going out, but very little proof that the advice is actually good. So listen, we're going to get into that a little bit today. I'm excited. We have new graphics. We have new information. We have new people coming into the room that's never been here before. And so folks, if you want to know more about your finances, we're going to be telling you the truth about authentically being able to understand how finances really work. Okay? So what is it that's going on with these finances? How have we looked at it before? We work, we make money, and we purchase goods and services, and we are trying to put money away for retirement and grow our wealth. Come on, folks. What's our contribution to this whole thing? Is there a better way to understand how our program works? Or are we being fed information that keeps us in a state of mediocrity? We're just kind of working, buying food, watching television, watching these commercials and going out and spending that money, making somebody else rich. What is the purpose of all of this? How do we create generational wealth? How is it that, how can we understand how can we get the most out of the money we are making? How do we get the most out of it? My guess is, if you're anything like me before, that we were just kind of existing. We go to work, we come home, we watch TV, we buy a few things, and we use credit. We go back to work to pay for it. And it's just that cycle, and we get used to it. We go to work, we spend our money, and we go to work. All right. So what can we do that makes this whole thing better? I want to point out today that the most expensive thing you will ever pay in life, not taxes. Not taxes at all. It's interest. It's interest on your money that you borrow. And it's because we don't understand it. And it's because no one has ever taught us. And we are subject to the bankers. The Bible says that the borrower is slave to the lender. The borrower is slave to the lender. And listen, if it doesn't feel like slavery, is it still slavery? If it doesn't feel like slavery, is it still slavery? Come on. It may not feel like it. Why? Because I have high limits on my credit cards? Why? Because I have a great job? Why? Because I make 6 figures a year? Why? Because I drive what I want to drive. I vacation where I want to vacation. I do what I want to do. Does that mean I have broken out of that slavery mold. Well, I don't know about that, folks, because the average family has 13 different debts. The average family pays 35 to 39% of their take-home pay just on interest alone. And we're going to be going over some of that today, understanding more about that. And I would like somebody to come to the stage and talk to me today about that, because we're going to blow up some myths today. Do you know someone who is getting ready to buy a home? Are you getting ready to buy a home? Are you getting ready to sell your home to buy another home? Are you thinking about refinancing your current mortgage? Do you have student loans that are hanging around like household pets? Are you getting ready to consolidate some loans? Are you looking at different ways to maximize the use of your finances based on current information that you already have, or that's been shared year after year after year after year? Do you think budget is a bad word? So, folks, we're going to explode some myths today, and I need some people to come to the stage. Do you see up above my head? That's called my 10K card. That is a digital business card, and I happen to know the owner of the company. And today, for the first 3 people that come to the stage and ask a question, the P.I.L.L method will pay for their own digital business card, whether they have a business or not. Maybe they just use it for personal. Maybe they use it for church. I don't care. So raise your hand for the first 3 people who raise their hand and come to the stage and ask a question about finances. They will get a card. In the meantime, go ahead and continue to share the room. So let me go in here and take a look and see what's going on. Thank you, Tyson, for sharing the room. Lena Baker, thank you so much for sharing the room. You listen, some of you folks are faithful. Wanda Mays, thank you so much for sharing the room this morning. That way we can get people out here to do some things. And in the meantime, let me tell you something. I'm going to share something with you. And if you're new to the room, and if you've heard of this guy, his name is Dr. Eric Thomas. I had the pleasure of meeting him in person. He came to my seminar and spoke back a few months ago, and it was amazing. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what I do, and then I'm going to tell you what he said. See, I own a company called P.I.L.L Method International. P.I.L.L Method stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. What we do is that we help people understand how lending actually works, how finances actually work, and how you can optimize the use of your money and pay a lot less interest. Our average client pays off all of their debt in an average of 7 to 9 years. That's it. 30-year mortgages, student loans, credit cards, car loans, everything, because we help people to understand how the game is played, how banks make their money in interest, and how you do not have to pay all that they're paying, so that you can understand the difference between interest rate, that's what we're focusing on, and interest cost. Interest cost is where the banks make their money, and we're not paying attention to the interest cost. We here at the P.I.L.L Method exist to tell you that there is such a thing as interest cost, and you can reduce your interest cost by up to 75% or more using your current budget, and you don't have to sacrifice lifestyle. You can live well. I mean, you can live an enhanced lifestyle and get out of debt in 7 to 9 years. You can have a good time. Listen, folks, there's some folks out there that are preaching right now that you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You've got to drive a 30-year-old car. You've got to eat beans and rice every day. You got to sell pizzas at night. You have to cut up your credit cards. You got to do all of these things just to be able to get out of debt. And that credit cards and debt and borrowing money is evil. Oh my goodness. Folks, we're going to blow all of that up today. Cash is not king in this society, a wise use of somebody else's money. And somebody else discovered that not too long ago. His name is Eric Thomas. He is, they call him E.T., the hip hop preacher. And I want you to listen to what he has to say about the P.I.L.L method. And we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L.L method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to PILLmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report today. All right, folks, did you hear that? Listen, just getting started today, that may be the first time you've ever heard that. So if you are here right now and you're wondering about your debt and you've looked at it and it's telling you that you've been paying on this thing for years and it's not going anywhere, the principal seems to be about the same, about the amount of money that you borrowed. The interest cost is way too much. You looked at this thing and said, why are we paying all this interest? If you've ever wondered about that, well, there's a reason for it, and you don't have to. If you want to know the month, day, and year you could be debt-free, then go to my 10K card right above my head, ice10k.com, click the link, and there's a button there that says, get a savings and earnings report. Come on. You can get a savings and earnings report. You can know the month, the day, and the year you could be debt-free. Within a 7 to 9 year window. How many of you have parents that still have a mortgage? How many of you have grandparents that still have a mortgage? How many of you just got a mortgage or just got one just a few years ago, or have student loans that aren't going anywhere? And you're wondering, how in the world am I supposed to be getting out of debt? How in the world am I supposed to be putting away money for my kids' school? How am I going to manage this thing? Well, there's a better way to do it. And you can be out of debt in 7 to 9 years, but you don't need more money to do it. Oh, that's what we've been told. You need more money to throw at the principal. When in fact, what you need to do is pay less interest. And we're going to get into how you can pay less interest. So go to that card, click on Get a Savings and Earnings Report, follow all of the instructions. And then when it comes to verifying your cell phone number, click that you want to verify that number, and then wait for a code that we're going to send you a code in your messages. Once you get the code, on your cell phone, then take the code, put that code back into the website, verify that, and then click on I want to save now. That will let you into the financial form, fill it all out. And once you fill it out, someone from my staff will get with you within 48 business hours, 2 business days, and set up for you a consultation. And you can know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you could save. And people ask me all the time, Don, what's the cost of this? And that's funny. It's a net zero cost. Costs you nothing. Why? Because the interest you were going to give the bank anyway, and you're not going to give the bank, we're going to take that money and pay for your lifetime program. It's a net zero cost to you. Money that you were going to pay, you shift over here. Boom. And then our average client saves $100,000 to $150,000 in interest they never have to pay. I got clients now that pay off their mortgages in 6 or 7 years. They put a renter in that house. And they go out and get another house. Guess what? They pay that one off too. And put a renter in that house and go out and get another one. Oh my goodness. When you understand what's really going on behind the scenes, when you stop paying all that interest and that money just seems to be there for you because you're not giving it to the bank, it makes all the difference in the world. So folks, go ahead, continue to share the room. Okay. All right. And let me check let me check. Let's see. Oh, I got folks saying good morning, good morning, good morning. And let me go ahead and let me invite a few people in here this morning. Hold on for just a second while I ping a couple of people in here myself. So folks, go ahead, ping a few people in, invite them into the room, and let me see here. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Let's see. We're going to invite her. Let's get Credit Goddess in here. All right. There she is. All right, we're going to get her in. All right. And let's see here. Listen, you guys go ahead and invite a few people in yourself. Okay. And let's see how we can get that done. All right. We've got that going on. Who else? All right. There we go. There we go. All right. And invite a few more people in. All right, folks. Thank you for sharing the room. Thank you for getting the information out. And I'm getting ready to go through some basic information here, and we're going to explode some myths. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is how to read an amortization schedule and tell the truth about how loans actually work and what's going on. And that the interest rate is a liar. And we need to be focused on interest cost instead of interest rate. We're going to be going over that. So I'm going to take a look and see how I can get this thing shared on my screen so everybody can see what's going on here. And I've got that. So we're going to get that shared. And there we go. And that out of there. All right. So now I see what I can do. Let me see, get this. Let me see what happens if I pull this off of this screen and put it over here on this screen. And now share. Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. And then we're going to put this over here on the screen. All right, folks, I'm just getting everything set up for you. All right. And so now that we've got everything set up, we're going to click on this and share the screen. And there we go. Screen 2. All right. Now, here we are. And let's get that up and running. Okay, folks, what you're seeing now is how to pay off mortgages and all other debt in about 7 years. If you want to see what's going on here, all right, if you want to see that, then you want to go to my link up above. Go to that link, and then you'll see how you can watch this live. All right, you can see how we can watch this live. We're live right now on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Facebook. All right, so you can click on the link, go to a separate on a separate device, and you can watch all of this. And we're going to be talking about advice people are giving that is not good financial advice. And we're going to give you all the basics here, and how that kind of information can hurt you. So let's start here. Let's start with how to pay off mortgages in about 7 years and all of your other debt. All right. So, folks, we're going to be talking about the P.I.L.L method. Is live on Clubhouse right now. It's on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you can listen and see what we are doing. We're also on Twitter. All right. So now, if you are watching this and you want a copy of my 10K card, all right, now I have my QR code up. Go ahead, take your phone out. All right, and it's on the screen. Go ahead and put your phone up there. Put it on picture mode, and then go ahead and then scan the QR code. And then my card will come up, and you can save my information into your contacts. All right, there we go. All right, so that's that. Or you can just go ahead and type in ice10k.com or go to pillmethod.com. Right now we're putting our book on the screen. My book is the only book of its kind on Amazon. Out of 33 million titles on Amazon, only one explains how an amortization schedule works and how you can defeat it. Now, what's an amortization schedule? It is the sliding scale that the bank uses to make sure you can have a payment you can afford to pay back your loans. So they give you a payment you can afford, and you pay back your loan. But what they're not telling you and not making clear to you is that the interest you're being charged every single month, it is not necessary for you to pay all of that interest, because you do not have to follow their program and their timing. You can disrupt their timing, use your current budget, and pay a lot less interest. Oh my goodness, Dawn, you're up there, you're sitting there, and I didn't even know you were in the room. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm amazing. And yourself?
You certainly are amazing. I'm doing well. I am doing extremely well. So, Dawn, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey, everyone. I'm Dawn Robinson, the Money PhD. I am a personal finance educator, money coach. You can call me your BFF, your best financial friend. I was a single teenage mom of twins and turned millionaire by age 44. I was a corporate executive, big, fat, and happy. Thought I had done everything right? Savings, the 8 months of savings. I was invested in my 401k, had 3 rental properties at the time, until I got a bad boss. And then I was in a toxic environment, couldn't afford to quit. I always say that I wanted to tell her she was number one, but with a different finger. Looked at my finances and when it put it all together, it was $140,000 of consumer debt, paid it off in 17 months. And now I'm on this journey to help professional women who make good money but are secretly struggling to find a way to save, pay off debt, and invest, and just don't know where to get started. They know they make money. It just seems to fall through their hands. and they feel like they have little or nothing to show for it, or they're late into the retirement game. So that's who I work with. And I always say that I believe that financial freedom, you're not financially free until work becomes optional, and you can start late and finish rich. This is Dawn, and I'm done speaking.
Dawn, who who are you speaking to? What segment of the society that you want to impress most with this information?
Oh my goodness, I guess I forgot to tell you. Women over 40 that were just like me. Women over 40, professional women over 40.
Okay, so if I'm not a professional woman over 40, can I get that information as well?
You could.
Okay.
That's just kind of my avatar. It was
Okay.
me. I get to talk to me. And here's the other point. Most people say, "Oh, I think I'm good." Where I thought I was good too. So here's a test. If you have you saved $2,000 for every year you've worked that you can actually put your hands on? Let's just say the last 5 to 10 years. So if you've worked the last 10 years, you have $20,000. And that's kind of how you know. Look in your account and say, hey, if I stop working today, how long could the balance in my savings account last me? If not, then I probably need to reach out to Dawn and get started and then figure out what I need to do. So that's kind of a little test for yourself. Thanks for asking, Dawn.
All right, all right. Listen, Dawn, we're going to be talking about internet advice today. Internet advice we get from TikTok, advice we get on YouTube, even advice right here on this app that we call Clubhouse. And listen, have you heard some financial advice on the internet from whatever source? Have you heard some? Have you heard any? Dawn? If you're speaking, you're on mute.
I know. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear advice, other people's opinions all the time on Clubhouse.
All right. And is all of it good advice?
No, it's not.
Okay. It's not good advice. So, folks, we want to know which is good and which is bad. We're going to go over some of that today, Dawn, about good advice and bad advice. And anytime anything sticks out to you, you've heard some bad financial advice, I would like to know about it. Or some advice you think is good advice, test it here and bring it up to the stage. Test your good advice that you've heard off the internet, and let's see if it actually is good once we run it through the numbers. Okay? Let's see how that works. So, Dawn, do you have anything that you want to be able to share? Does anything come to mind about any good advice or bad advice you want to share here so we can run it through the numbers and just see how good or bad it is?
Oh, well, since we're talking about mortgages, it's the one that says don't pay off your mortgage. I take strong issue with that one. Don't pay off your mortgage. You'll always be in debt. So where you want to go with that one?
Don't pay off your mortgage. Folks, if anybody's ever heard that, don't pay off your mortgage, put a number 1 in the chat. Put a number 1 in the chat if you've ever heard advice that says don't pay off your mortgage. Okay? If you've ever heard that, put a number 1 in the chat, because here's what I've heard. Don't pay off your mortgages, that cheap loan, and then take that money instead and invest that money. Is that what you're talking about, Dawn?
I've heard it that way, and also there's a tax benefit to keeping your mortgage. That's what the first time I started hearing it was about, the tax benefit of paying off your not paying off your mortgage. And recently you'll hear about the interest rates and being able to invest it.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute before we actually get in here, and maybe I can shed some light on that idea of the tax advantages. So, folks, you know that if you have a mortgage, you can write off, if you qualify, you can write off your mortgage interest. Anybody ever hear about that? Put a yes in the chat if you ever heard that. You can write off your mortgage interest, and it's a good idea to keep that mortgage because if you pay it off, now you don't have that write-off. Anybody ever heard that before? So Dawn, here's how I deal with that, okay? We don't get, even those who qualify. Okay, here we come. Here comes some people says, okay, all right. Latrice says, yeah, she's heard that. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. You can write off your mortgage interest, but not dollar for dollar. It's not that you can pay $1 in interest, Dawn, and then deduct $1 from your taxes. You can only deduct a portion of it. So let's just say I have $1 in one hand and 27 cents in the other. Once I pay $1 in interest and I put it on my taxes, how much I've paid in interest, let's say I could get 27 cents off my taxes for every $1 I paid. It's not even that much, but let's say it is 27 cents. So here's what I want to tell people. For every year you qualify, every year you have a mortgage, you are going to be able to take advantage of that tax deduction. It's not going anywhere for every year you have it. Now, here's the question. Do you want that for 30 years? Do you want that tax deduction for 30 years? Or do you want that tax deduction for 7? Here's what I mean. If you are with the P.I.L.L method and you pay your mortgage off sometime between year 7 and year 9 on average, for those years you had a mortgage, you'll be able to, and if you qualify, you can write a certain portion of the mortgage interest off on your taxes. Okay? But once the mortgage is paid off, doggone it, Dawn, you lose the 27 cents. You don't get that mortgage deduction anymore. But guess what, Dawn? You get to keep the $1 to invest any way you choose. You don't get 27 cents to work with. You get 100 cents to work with. Dawn, does that make sense?
Yeah, because we get taxed at a marginal rate. So I'm going to repeat what I think I heard you say, or at least the way I understand it, is that if I were able to write off, let's say, $10,000 of the interest on a home, right? And I'm at a 25% tax bracket, and we know it's effective. Let's just say that's what it ends up being, 25%. And for easy numbers, then I would essentially save $2,500 off of my taxes. However, if I did not have that, then the $10,000 would be, so I'm paying $10,000 to save $2,500. And if I didn't have the ability to write off that mortgage, then I would simply just be paying the $2,500 off of my earned income.
Oh.
That's how I see it. Did I say it right?
Oh, and then that would give you $7,500 to invest any way you want.
Yes, I'm paying Uncle Sam, or I'm paying my mortgage company $10,000 to write off $2,500, or I could just pay Uncle Sam $2,500 and not have the mortgage interest. The other thing I think is different about the conversation is in 2018, the standard tax deductions changed. So whether you have a home or not, if you're single, I think it's $12,000 standard deduction. And for married, it's $25,000. And for me, having a home in Hawaii, my interest paid each month or each year was $25,000, but so was my standard deduction. So did the interest really benefit me from a tax perspective? Because anybody, whether they lived in Hawaii, had a mortgage or not, if they were married, could do 25,000 standard deduction. So did that benefit me or not?
That's what I was talking about. If you qualify, all right. So that's what we're talking about, folks. When you hear these things, do you know, Dawn, I've had even accountants tell me that. And when I hear an accountant tell me that, I absolutely know they did not do the math. They're just repeating what they've heard. Now, you just pointed out that you can either pay $10,000 to in interest and receive $2,500 back on your taxes. You can reduce your tax burden by $2,500. Okay. Or pay off the mortgage and then, oh, now I can't write off that $2,500. I have to pay the $2,500 to the government, but I get to keep the $7,500 to invest or do with what I want. Folks, that's what we're talking about here. Dawn, I'm glad you were here. You've explained that very, very, very well. So listen, folks, we're here. That's one of the things that people have heard. All right. So we're here to make sure that the stuff we hear on the internet and that people have been regurgitating year after year after year, that bad internet advice is just that. It's bad internet advice. And so, folks, let's go ahead and do a poll right now. If you believe that the advice to keep a mortgage just to get the tax deduction is a good idea, put a number 2 in the chat. Okay, if you think it's a good idea, put a number 2 in the chat. If from this explanation you think it's to keep a mortgage for 30 years just to get the tax deduction, if you think it's a bad idea, put a number 1 in the chat. If it's a good idea, put a number 2. If it's a bad idea, put a number 1. Okay, I see some number 1s coming in. All right, anybody else? All right, so folks, that's what we're talking about. I see another number 1. So folks, we want to tell the truth about these things, and I'm going to need your help. So Dawn gave us some information here. Raise your hand and bring up your idea of good advice or bad financial advice, no matter where you've heard it. And let's go over it today and see, and let's see if I can shed some light on that. Okay. So, and even if you have, you want to put it in the chat, maybe you're at work and you can't come to the stage. All right. But if you're new to the room, I want to encourage you to come to the stage. So I said earlier, the first 3 people that come to the stage and ask a question, I will pay for their 10K card. Okay. So raise your hand, come to the stage. And if you want, oh, Miss Yolanda wants to come to the stage. Okay. Let's bring her up, invite to speak. All right. That's the first one. Miss Yolanda, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Don. I don't have my earbuds in, so hopefully you can hear me just fine.
I hear you extremely well. All right, do you have a 10K card?
I do not have a 10K card.
All right, I'm going to make sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at your bio and I'm going to send that over to the team and make sure you get a 10K card, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So listen, what's your question today? Because you got to have a question to get a 10K card.
I do have a question for you, Don. There's a few folks on this app that I've heard phrase living in a bank but can't take out any money. And I feel like that's me. I have a home that's paid off. I inherited it. I have no plans on selling. I want to hold property, not flip. And I don't quite understand how this concept works, because if I take money out of my equity, it's kind of like that analogy of if you need money from your home, you want to take money out of your home. You can't just like cut off a part of your home and give it to someone and now you've got money. That's where the whole mortgage and all that concept comes from. So I'm curious, Don, how can I utilize the equity in my home in a in a smart way that just eliminates, they say if people know you have all the equity in your home, they'll come on your property and slip and fall on purpose, things like that. I'm just curious how this works. Like how, when I take this equity out, I still have to pay it back every month. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you have is there a reason why you want to take cash out of your home? Is there a reason why?
Initially, it was because folks on this app, as I said, are like, don't live in a bank and not be able to access the money because people will take advantage of you if they think you have a lot of equity in your home.
Oh, okay. Listen, um, Don said, what? I wouldn't take out money just for that reason. Okay. But here's what I would do. I advise people all the time. If you have equity, you want to be able to access that money if there is a reason. All right. And I advise people all the time to get what's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, as opposed to refinancing and taking cash out. Okay. Now, if you can go to your local lending, your lending source, whether it's a bank or credit union, and see if they're doing HELOCs, home equity lines of credit. A HELOC is a revolving line of credit. It's like a big credit card. Okay, let's just say you have $100,000 in equity, and your bank is offering 80% of that as a HELOC. That would mean there's $80,000 available to you to spend any way you like. But it's like having an $80,000 credit card. All right, that's your limit, but you haven't spent any of it. It's potentially available for you to use. All right. So if you haven't borrowed any of that money, you don't pay interest on that money. But once you borrow $5,000, now you're paying interest as you pay back that $5,000. Yolanda, does that make sense?
It does make sense, Don. And I do want to qualify that. Doing my research, I always kind of shunned HELOCs, thinking that home loan, I think it's called a home equity loan or something like that, different than I'm not using the term correctly, but the other.
That was right. It's a home equity loan. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I was frowning at the HELOC versus taking out a regular loan on the home. And so what was frightening about that is, yes, immediately once you withdraw those funds, you start paying immediately. Whereas a HELOC, you only pay if you draw down any money from it. So to me now, I'm like, oh, light bulb, HELOC is a much better product for me. And it sounds like you're saying that banks will sometimes offer special HELOC programs. So I guess I need to kind of be mindful of that and just start building some relationships with these lenders, because listen, Don, I just want you to know I'm such a big fan. I put your book on my wish list. I'm definitely going to grab it with my next check. But the point I'm making is everybody that I tell, I sell homes, I help people buy homes. I tell people you can do this in 7 to 10 years, because I know a guy named Don who I feel the Lord has really blessed me with this concept. I just feel like he's opened up so many doors. So I want to be quiet because, again, I don't get to talk too much, so I'm a fangirl. But I cannot wait to get involved in this 7 to 10 year payoff schedule. And thank you so much.
Listen, that is so great. So tell me, you said you can't wait to get involved in the 7 to 10 year schedule. What do you mean?
Well, I want to do investing. There's some counties in Michigan that I'm very interested in buying and holding. And 30-year mortgage is daunting, the thought of it. But knowing that there's a plan where I can grab that 30-year, from just listening to you, I can grab a 30-year, make payments on the principal. I think your quote is control the principal, control the loan, or something to that effect.
That's right. Control the principal payment, you control the loan.
Absolutely. So that is what I mean. I'm looking forward. I want to use some of the equity to actually get involved in some of this investing in a very smart way, and then be able to put the money back into my original property and just keep doing it.
Wow. Listen, go ahead and contact us. And you got my 10K card. Go ahead and get that, and then and get a consultation. And let's talk, and let's see how you can help your clients. And you mentioned Michigan. Do you live in Michigan?
Yes, I am a proud Michigander.
All right. I grew up in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Oh,
And
okay.
and where are you?
I'm on the east side of the state, so I'm in just outside of Detroit in Southfield.
In Southfield. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
listen, I've been to that area many, many times. And we just came back from Michigan about a week ago because we have a rental in Niles. And so we just went up to check on it and see how things are going. Just take a little road trip, my wife and I. And I hadn't been back to Michigan in a couple of years. So anyway, it's good to talk to you, Miss Yolanda. Listen, reach out to us and let's talk and let's see how we can help you and help your clients. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to make sure I write your name down, Yolanda Charles, and we're going to make sure you get a 10K card. All right. Go ahead. All right. Go ahead. What now?
I said I had something to add to Yolanda's question.
Oh, you please do.
So I want to make sure that there. I think she understood that there is a difference between the home equity loan and a home equity line of credit. The loan is closed in, and the line of credit is almost like it's revolving like a credit card where once you pay it down, it's available again, and it's so it's a revolving versus the other one. The other thing I just like to caution people about using HELOCs because I think everybody makes it sound easy, and it is relatively easy to get. You can get approved within 24 hours, and it's a close very similar to your mortgage, a little less paperwork. However, my concern is always make sure that you have great spending habits and you can afford that payment once you start using that line of credit, because they usually do it one of two ways. Sometimes they do it interest only on the balance remaining, and sometimes they do 1 to 1.5 or even 2% of the balance, and you have to make that as your monthly payment. So when people start taking out HELOCs and they have not really looked at their finances the right way, that's when people get into foreclosure issues. So I sound like you already say, hey, Lynn, how do I do this smartly? How I do it responsibly? But for the audience that's listening, when you take out a HELOC, that is ultimately a second mortgage. And so you will get foreclosed on if you cannot pay that mortgage. And a lot of times the lines of credit are variable. In this market, we're already at 7%. It could potentially go up to double digits. So you want to make sure that you know how to manage that debt responsibly. It's not something you just want to just buy all these houses, use it, say take $100,000 out, you go buy these other properties, or at least take possession of those properties, and they have a burden on them too, a financial burden on them. And now you have more than you can handle. You'll have big hat and no cattle, like they say in Texas. So be careful with that. I have a HELOC, but I also like to give, Mickey Gabriel says you got to look both ways. And so I give the good and the bad of what at least I can see from my own experience. So this is Dawn, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you for that, Dawn. And you are exactly right. Now, folks, getting that good advice is going to be there. This is why with the P.I.L.L method, we don't just give you the technology, the computer system. We also give you coaching, and we help you to create strategies that are focused on you. So if you want a strategy that is designed specifically for you, that is part of what we do. All right. So listen, now you've heard some things about this, the interest only, or have a 1.5% or 2% of the balance will be your payment. If you are a client of the P.I.L.L method, of those strategies, interest only, pay 1.5 to 2% of your minimum payment. Which one do you think the P.I.L.L method would recommend? Interest only, or a payment where you're paying principal and interest each month?
I've listened to you for a while now. I'm going to venture interest only.
And you were right. You are so right. Okay. And the reason why I say interest only is because now you are in control of the principal payment. When is going to be the best time to pay principal? And our program, working with us with a strategy that is created specifically for you, then you'll be able to pay principal anytime you want in the right amounts on the right day in the right month to reduce your interest cost on your HELOC. Oh my gosh. So it's not just enough to borrow the money. All right. You want to make sure that you pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible. And folks, if you want to optimize what's going on here, don't try to beat the bank with a pencil and paper. Don't even attempt to do that. Get a computer system that was created to beat the bank's computer at their own game. And we are the only game in town in the world. There's no other program like this anywhere in the world. Oh my gosh. So this is what we're doing. I see Miss Dion down there going, she's going off. Miss Dion, listen, I don't know if you're able. Let me see if she can come up to speak, because she's just putting up exclamation points and stuff. But Miss Dion, what are you doing putting all those exclamation points up for? What's that about?
Good morning, Don. Good morning, Coffee. The exclamation points are just my husband and I are clients of Don, and we're getting ready to pay off 3 of our, high interest bills here. Tomorrow is our due date, and I've never been so excited to pay something off in my life. But just the program is amazing. We're always mind blown. Anytime we come into rooms, we always hear something new and that's applicable to our situation. So Don and this program is setting us up for further success a lot faster. And we just reflect on how much money we've wasted over the years. And I just wish we had found Don maybe 10 years ago. We'd be in a different place right now, but super grateful for Don and his opportunities, and just I'm looking forward to growing further with the P.I.L.L method. Thank you.
Don, can I ask you a question, if you don't mind? Can I ask in round numbers? You don't have to give us exact, if you don't mind. Can I ask in round numbers about how much you're going to be paying off tomorrow in debt?
$27,000.
Okay. And that was money that the program asked you to put away after your budget, and says, okay, let's put the rest of this money in your savings account and hold it there, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you pay that money on the debt, we figure out for you how much interest you're going to save, don't we?
Yes, you do.
All right. Now, here's the last question. Are we going to exhaust your savings to do that? Or are you still going to have significant savings after you pay off the debt?
Nothing's changed. We still have significant savings.
What?
No change.
Listen, look, okay, Dawn, I know you are going to be happy. Dawn is a cash girl. She says, listen, don't be taking all my money and putting on the debt. I got to have some cash. So Miss Dion, you said that you're going to be able to pay off some debt and keep cash in the bank and do this. Did you ever think you'll be able at one time to do something like this and keep cash in the bank?
Absolutely not. It was either one or the other.
Wow. Excellent. Thank you so very much. And folks, we're going to get to Credit Goddess here and Coffee Brown in just a minute. But I want to point something out here. This is one of the things that you want to pay attention to when you're getting internet advice, okay? Especially on this Clubhouse app. If the person you're hearing in these rooms, no matter what the room is, and they're giving you advice on finances, and they say they have a program or a course, or they're going to teach you how to do something, if the only examples they have are years old and you keep hearing the same examples over and over again, and they're patting themselves on the back, and they don't have anyone on their stages coming up and say, that's right, I have taken that course, I have used their product, and it has benefited me. If they're the only ones that are ever talking about what they do and how they do it, that is a clear sign to stay away. A clear sign to stay away when nobody from their stage is willing to come up and say, I've used their product or service and it is great, and let somebody else toot their horn. Thank you very much, Miss Dion, because we're talking about today internet advice, and we're having people to beware and what to look out for when we're listening to this internet advice. And we've got Credit Goddess and Coffee Brown on the stage. Miss Credit Goddess and Coffee, if you guys can talk to us, please flash your mics if you're available. Thank you. All right. So, Coffee, I'm going to let you go first because I know you're probably in the car. Miss Coffee Brown, talk to us this morning.
Good morning, Pastor, Reverend, Deacon, Apostle, Prophet, Dr. Don. Good morning to everyone in the room. Excited to be in the building as always. And I am not in transit to the office today. I am actually preparing to fly out to see about my mom. She's experiencing some medical challenges, and so she's getting older in her twilight years. So when that happens now, it's called hop on a plane and forget about everything else. And I'm getting ready to do that and go see about my mother, make sure that she's good and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be doing a Don and just traveling and still adding value while I'm traveling. I'm just super grateful for this room. Without crying, Don, I just really honor you, and I'm just crazy grateful for just you being so persistent in making certain that we have an opportunity to choose life in our finances. We've never heard anything like this. It does not exist. I've never heard anything. So it's like, the Bible says he takes the foolish things to confound the wise. And this is something that, I definitely would consider myself as wise, but this stuff kind of it takes me a while to digest it, Don, because when you've heard something so long and it's implanted in those wrinkles in your brain, it takes a while to purge it away. But every time I come into this room, I get more and more purging away from what was said by our foremothers and our forefathers and all that kind of stuff. They didn't know. They said everything they said out of ignorance. They did not have this information or access to it. So I strongly encourage and admonish anyone in this room to not keep ingesting and not progressing. Not keep ingesting and not progressing. Don't come in here and get your belly full and then not go and regurgitate what it is that you've been taught in this room. It's imperative that we not just sit here and absorb information, but take massive action so we can see transformative change for generations to come. This is not about us. This is about the future. I just want to thank you, Don. I can't say thank you enough. You guys, his giving stuff is in his bio. If you're in a position to add to him, just send him something. Say, hey, Don, I want to take care of your lunch today. Hey, Don, I want to get you some coffee today. He doesn't have to do this. He comes in here countless hours per week, and no one compensates him financially for his time. This is information that he's given his life of service to make certain that we're free. So, we should all be honoring him. I'm going to go ahead and take care of his lunch for today. And I strongly encourage you all to do the same, to do something for people like Don who give themselves away to add value to others. So Don, I appreciate you and I applaud you, and I'm going to send you a Cash App so that I can make certain that, matter of fact, I'll send one for you and your wife to get some lunch today. I definitely don't want to leave the queen out out and feed you and not the queen, that wouldn't be right.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you some cash to take the queen to lunch today. And I just honor and appreciate you. I can't ask people to do something that I'm not doing. So I'll start it off. And I just want to tell you thank you and I honor you. This is Coach P. Coffee Brown. And listen, you can never have a good conversation without a great cup of coffee. So I yield back to you, Don.
Thank you so very much, Miss Coffee Brown. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And we also have Miss Credit Goddess on the stage. Miss Credit Goddess, how are you doing?
I'm great. Oh my gosh, Miss Coffee. You said nothing but a word. I mean, from your mother, and I pray that your mom has speedy recovery, because I am actually going through it with my mom. Nothing major though. She's about to have eye surgery at 12 today, so I have to take her around. Yeah, so I totally get what you're saying. When it comes to your mom, you drop everything and go and attend to her. That's me, and that's been me for the past 2 months. Um, and then also with what you said about Don been coming on here countless hours to feed to the people here. And even if you find out that you can't afford his services, at least pay him for his time. You know what I'm saying? So I totally agree with you on that. And for those that's been coming into this room, day in, day out, every time he opens, it's always good to pay it forward, whether you take care of the time that he comes on here to share this information, or even share it with your family and friends. You guys believe in this information, and I know you have to come on here like 2-3 times to kind of get it, but this is the type of information that needs to be shared, right? Not kept to yourself, because that actually stunts Don's growth to reach the masses. So if you have this information and you understand it, it's not about buying into the service, but it's also understanding the service so you can share it with others. And this is anyone that you're doing business with. Understand the information, understand what it is that they provide, and that's how you share, right? Because you don't want to deprive your friends and family from this type of information. But anyway, my name is Rosalora Lewis, also known as Credit Goddess. I'm all things credit. I'm a credit score improvement strategist. So not only do I help repair my clients' credit, but through education, I help them optimize and improve their credit so that way they can gain access to other people's money, so they can apply this P.I.L.L method and rinse and repeat in your lifetime. You can actually purchase 2-3 homes in your lifetime, or even more, just by being in the best position credit wise. Right. So definitely tap in with me if you guys are interested in my service. The number is in my bio where you can send your name and email address to. And a link will be presented where you can book your consultation. So definitely tap in. And if you have any credit related questions, I am here for you guys. Thank you, Don.
You are entirely welcome. Folks, listen, we're excited here. We're bringing out the truth today about listening to internet advice. If you have heard some advice on the internet or anywhere else for that matter, and you want to test it here to see if it's good or if it's something that you should leave alone, bring it to the stage, okay? And we have room for 2 others who want to come up and ask a question that may not have a 10K card, and the P.I.L.L method will pay for a 10K card for you today if you want to raise your hand and bring your question to the stage. We have room for 2 more, and I'll let Miss Yolanda know that I've sent your information over to the team. Miss Yolanda, I should have that very fairly soon. Yes.
First off, thank you. I wanted to just mention, I read in Coffee Brown's bio that she's a native Detroiter. I just want you to know, Coffee, I'm a Michigander. But Credit Goddess, since you did offer to answer a quick question, we were talking about HELOCs and home equity loans. And I was just wanting to confirm, with a HELOC, that is considered installment, not revolving, correct?
No, a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, is considered revolving.
Oh, I had it backwards. Right.
Yeah.
So it's considered revolving.
Yes.
And you would advise then that I should still maintain some other kind of installment, a couple of installment accounts too, for good balance.
Good balance as far as like optimizing your credit profile, not necessarily loans. because then that will affect your debt to income ratio, or especially if you're trying to acquire another installment. But it's best to have like multiple credit cards. I know a lot of people would frown on that, but if you just have a minimum of 3, that's a great start. But the more the merrier. Not too much in a short period of time, but just have an equal balance of like maybe 5 or 7 revolving accounts, and 1 or 2 installment. It can be a car loan or a mortgage, student loans. We can't have too much of that. But yeah, if you don't have many installment accounts, then yeah, if you can get another 1 or 2, that's a good balance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Miss Yolanda, you are too funny. She said, listen, if you're going to be in here today, you have to know how to pronounce Dawn and Don and Dion. You have to bring your pronunciations with you today, she said. That's so funny. All right, folks. Listen, any other questions? Because if you don't have any questions, listen, we're going to get into some of this, get into a little bit more, bring it on the screen. So I want to handle your financial questions. Anything that you've ever heard from the internet about finances, and we want you to know the truth. Do you know why we want you to know the truth? Okay. Because the truth will set you free. Oh, listen, my engineer is putting some stuff up on the screen where it says Kevin says, Kevin Long says, let me buy Don some coffee. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate you. And Kevin is also a client. Thank you so much, Kevin. We appreciate you. Folks, listen, I get so excited to do this room. Do you know?
Hey, Don.
Yes.
Don, before you keep going, did you see your blessing come through?
Oh, wait a second. Let me see here. I got to pull up my focus. Listen, let me see here. Not yet.
We did it through Clubhouse, so you might have to go.
Oh, you did through Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be on Stripe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to take a look. I have to pull that.
You can check the bell. You can check the bell for the notification. You'll see it there.
Okay. All right. Let me. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure you got it.
All right. Let me go ahead and check the bell for the notification. And no, I don't see it yet. But let me go ahead and as soon as I get a break,
I just want to make sure you got it, because I know sometimes it with here it takes a little while for it to come through, but I just want to make sure you got it. So no worries, just let me know you got it.
I will do that. And folks, to make it a little easier, we're actually going to I'm adding a link to my 10K card to make it a little easier to get that done. So I appreciate you, and we'll check it out in just a little bit. And has everybody had a chance to introduce themselves and everything? So let's go ahead and do a little bit more this morning on going through. I've got my PowerPoint up, but we want to make sure that people are learning the truth. Now, why do you want to know the truth about finances? Okay, because like anything else, the truth sets you free. And I'm telling you, folks, the information that we've been receiving over the years on our finances is not the truth. It ain't the truth. Okay. And so we are in bondage, and we don't even realize we're in bondage because we're walking around. We have credit cards. We have these cars that we can drive. We're living in nice homes. We have great jobs, but we don't realize we're still in bondage. So we're going to go over some of that today. So here's what we're going to do. Let's get back to the screen. And I need you to know this. 90% of the people you know with a mortgage will never pay it off, will never own their home free and clear. Listen to this. Would you send your child to a school where 90% of the people, 90% of the kids failed to graduate? Then why are we embroiled in a system where 90% of us will fail to do what we signed up to do? I'm not talking about just across the board. I'm talking about 90% of the people you know with a mortgage. All the people that you know that ever had a mortgage. How many have actually paid it off? It's going to be less than 10% of the people you know. And there's a problem with that. Okay. So 30-year loans should pay off in 7 to 9 years. That's the truth of the matter, folks. I have seen it over and over and over again, and you can live well while you're doing it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't live well. Don't let anybody tell you you can't invest in your future and get out of debt. Don't let anybody tell you that this can't be done. All right. That you have to live like a pauper. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You can't enjoy life with your family and pay off your debt. You most certainly can. Not only that, but it's been proven here today, you can enjoy life with your family, pay off all of your debt in about 7 years, and keep money in the bank. Oh my goodness. It is true. The proof is sitting on the stage. All right. So watch this, folks. You can do all of this without refinancing, without change to your budget, without sacrificing lifestyle. And I want to be very clear. You want to focus in on this. If you're kind of doing two things at once, I need you to stop doing that other thing and listen to this or watch your screen. Here's where you will not hear this information. You will not get this information from your accountant. You will not get it from your financial planner, and you will not get it from your banker. Do you know how many people have come here, gotten this information, and went to their banker and asked the question, is what Don's saying true? And they either get an answer like, I don't know, or absolutely no. But they're asking the person who answers the phone, who has not been trained in how to understand how a loan actually works. The bank owners understand how a loan works, but they don't teach it to their employees. There are people on this stage right now who have worked in banking. They're on this stage right now because they've told me they worked in banking. They've been a loan officer, or they're a real estate agent or financial planner, any of that. They could even be a CPA. And all of them will tell you, I have never had a class on how a loan actually works, even the people who work in the bank. So folks, don't go to them to ask them anything. I have almost 150 shows up on YouTube going over how this whole system works. And it's up there for you for free. For free. So go ahead, get your information, okay? And then if you want to know more, listen, get an expert on your team. I have those 150 shows up, almost 150 shows. Listen, we're closing in on 1 year on being on this app and coming here and putting this content out. And I want to tell you right now, folks, you may not know this, but I have an engineer, all right, that is helping to produce what you see online, okay? If you're watching us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, if you're watching us right now, there's an engineer behind the scenes making sure that all that happens. And folks, I guarantee you he's not volunteering his time. The P.I.L.L method pays for that. But the content you are getting is free to you. All right. And I know, Credit Goddess, you don't like that word free. You like the word complimentary. I know. All right. It's complimentary to you. Complimentary. Okay. We're paying to make sure that you get good content. And so we are doing this. Why? Because we are actually auditioning to be a part of your financial team. And if you want somebody who is dedicated to, if we can be here week after week, 2 hours each time, if you can depend on us to be here complimentary, guess what we will do for you once we become part of your team professionally? Oh my goodness. Oh, so we're auditioning to be on your financial team. And if you want us on your financial team, all right, because right now we're a little bit past the top of the hour, so we need to do a reset right about now. You're in the P.I.L.L Method Club. You're in how to pay off mortgages in 7 years. And today we're talking about beware of internet advice here in the P.I.L.L Method Club. Join the club and follow your moderators. If you're not following me, please do and click that notification bell. All right. And so while you're doing that, we want to also share with you someone else who has decided they don't want just the complimentary information. Listen, let me tell you something, because this guy, I'm getting ready to show you his video. Eric Thomas, all right? E.T., the hip hop preacher. Do you know how he got started? Do you know how Eric Thomas got started, everybody? Does anybody know how Eric Thomas got started in the motivational industry? Does anybody know? He did free videos. He put up so much free content, it could not be ignored. So we are following in his footsteps and put that free content out there so people can get it, understand it, believe in it. And you know what they say, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And that's why I'm looking you right in the eye in this camera. So if you're watching us, we're auditioning so that we can help you with your finances. Let's hear a little bit from Dr. Eric Thomas right now. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L.L Method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. One of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to PILLmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report today. All right, folks, thank you so very much for that. So listen, this is why we're putting this information up. We're following in those footsteps. And we want you to know that we want you to get great content, great information. And this is why today we're going over what you need to hear as far as good information and the truth about finances. And we're dispelling myths this morning. So go get a savings and earnings report. Click on the button above our heads. All right. And ice10k.com and find the button that says get a savings and earnings report and become a client today. Get your savings and earnings report. Know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you can save. And I tell you what, the cost is going to be a net zero cost. What does net zero cost mean? That means all the interest you've paid in the past, we're going to point that out. All the interest you're supposed to pay in the future, we're going to point that out. And we're going to show you out of the $100 or $150 or $200,000 in interest that you were going to pay the bank, a small fraction of that will pay for your program. Oh my goodness, it's money that the bank is not going to receive that pays for your program. That's why it's a net zero cost to you. It ends up being a cost to your bank because it's interest they will not receive. All right, folks, back to our screen here. I want to show you what's going on with this. We already went over who not to speak to about interest cancellation, and the truth of the matter, it's not your accountant, it's not your financial planner, it's not your banker. So let's put that back on the screen, and let me see here. All right, and oh, I got the wrong. Do I have the wrong screen up? Yep, I got the wrong screen up. Hold on for a second. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Okay. All right. So David Hunt is saying on here, he says, I've heard on the internet that you only need to do the snowball or avalanche method and you'll be all set. Is that true? Okay. Let's talk about that. All right. So that's something that we've heard before. Okay. The snowball method is the method that because the average family has 13 different debts. Okay. The average family has 13 different debts. And the debt snowball says, let's get the smallest debt and then put a little extra money with it and pay it off early. And then the minimum payment plus that little extra money you put with that debt. Now we're going to take the minimum payment you're no longer paying and then pay the next smallest debt. And then when that's paid off, then you take that money, put it all together, snowball it, and pay off the next smallest debt until you get to where you're at the mortgage, and then you can put all of that money on the mortgage every single month. Folks, that program absolutely works. The debt snowball works, and it's been working for years. The problem is it is highly, highly inefficient, and you're going to pay a lot more interest than you need to pay. Okay, so I need to put some information on the screen just to show how all of this works. But before I do, let's say good morning to Coach Gene Austin this morning. Coach, how you doing?
I am good. Sorry I had to jet earlier. I had a client call that I had to hop on, and my Fridays are really my Mondays, so it's always an interesting morning. Yeah, it is. It is. How you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Doing fine. Coach, will you introduce yourself to the folks? Tell them who you are and what you do while I get this example set up.
No problem. No problem. Good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Coach John Austin. I am CEO of Austin Business Strategies, Leas and Inc., and a couple other brands that we got out there. I don't put on Clubhouse much, but I'm mainly known for business strategy, business development, and especially in this down market. We can't leave the fundamentals alone. So our Bank Ready brand, which is about a week away from being trademarked, thank God, is a brand where I introduce you to taking your business, small, medium, large, whatever size your business is, but especially for our minority businesses, especially for our women in business, making sure you're certified, making sure you got the right plan and strategy in place to walk into these procurement. And I don't know who knows about procurement, who's heard about procurement, but is the leading arm into government contracting, into private contracting. And y'all who have 9 to 5s, your company has a procurement and purchasing department. That's where all the checks are written. That's the one room that we're really not in. So just like with Ice Daniels' program, we're not effectively using these programs. We're not either. Big, big time. And in this recession that we're in the middle of, even though Biden is a little confused, but baby, it's okay. Even we're in this recession right now, my company and our Bank Ready brand helps you to get in position to do what you're doing anyway, but make sure your business is structured properly and make sure you're executing with the right plan and strategy. And those business certifications, especially for our women, is your key to getting into rooms and getting the standard multi-million-dollar contracts to grow and scale, especially in a down market, because they need you and they're looking for you. So I have a room today at 12, the lunch and learn. Would love to see y'all in there. I'm breaking that process down and how to network in those spaces, because one of the main things we get is, I guess, an inferiority complex. We don't feel we belong. We feel it's too big. I can't talk to Amazon. I can't talk to these people. I'll show you how to. And it's amazing because they're just like you. They're people with a checkbook and a budget, and they need you to be in the room with you. So That's what we do. That's who I am. If you look at my avatar picture, that's me and wifey. We're at a winery in Napa. Don, if you haven't been to Napa Valley, oh, bro, you gotta go. You gotta go. Y'all gotta go to Napa. It's so peaceful, man. It's so nice. It's so just the wine is insanely good and very strong, coming right off that vine like that. So I yield the bike, brother. But great room, man. I hope I can add some value while I'm here. Love what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Coach. Listen, I don't know if it's been made very clear, but you have a special affinity for women in business. And what type of information is out there, or monies that are available for women in business? Talk to us a little bit about that.
The money for women in business is really in the a standard. Let's just say cybersecurity, because that's kind of a hot topic now with us in this going into Web3 and everything so digital, and every company needs it. Uh, you're talking on average 20, 30, $40 million contracts. And when I say a contract, there's a task that has to happen with Schlumberger, Shell, whomever. They always in these projects need multiple things. Even those construction projects, they're 100 and $150 million projects, sometimes even larger than that. And when you hear that project, it doesn't mean that you're getting that whole thing. But if you're a chef, there may be $1 million budget in there for food trucks, for eateries, for consulting. They'll have an event planning space because there's golf tournaments around these projects. Because there's a lot of networking going on, so they'll hire an event planner. Really, the money, I will say honestly, is almost limitless, because one, there's so much money because it's not just for one woman. They want you to build a team. They want you to grow your team and grow a business and grow with them long term. So these projects last 3 to 5 years long. So the money on average is in the millions. Now, there's something called a simplified acquisition process. Those are the contracts that are like 700,000 and less. So they're smaller air quotes projects. They, yeah, for real. Yeah, so it's small coins. Great, awesome sound effect. Those are the smaller contracts where you can kind of come in as a 1 or 2 man band, if you will. But the money is not the issue. I will say again, the money is not the issue, because they have the purse strings, the CARES Act, the infrastructure bill, all the money that was poured out over the last couple of years. When people bark about taxes going up and all of that, well, that's where the money went. So the reason why women have such a good space, they're the most underserved community, but they are served well if you are positioned properly. So a lot of people bark and complain on social media, and they'll whine a little bit about there's no money out here for us. Well, you're in the wrong place. You're over there. The money's over here. And I have CDFIs, community financial development institutions, credit unions. Rose knows a lot about these. There are banks that have minority-based money, women-owned business money that they have to give to women. But if your LLC, for example, is not certified as a woman-owned small business, they don't have the ability to check the box and say, yes, I gave this money to a woman. The project coordinator, the program directors say, hey, I got it. I mean, there's a lady right here in Houston, Miss Karen. There's a certain person on this app, he's pretty affluent, and he says, oh, there's no money for affordable housing. Well, you're a white male, so you would say that. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of affordable housing in multiple states. And I know the program director right here in Houston who has a $400 million budget for affordable housing in the state of Texas at her disposal. And she needs to give a large part of it to women, Latinos, LGBTQ, veterans, service disabled veteran. We're just not in those spaces, Don. So the money is not the issue at all. It's the fact that we're just not positioned correctly. We just need to get our little paperwork right and tight and build the right team. But most of my real estate professionals, y'all got everybody y'all need. You just need to learn how to use them. And when you have that CEO project manager perspective and you see what the budget is, you can pretty much write your own check over time. It's not an overnight process, but I have seen people walk in and walk out with contracts. My client Mason Bradley came down from California. He flew from California to Houston. He's been working with me for about a year now. We took one business idea, turned it into two. He's got a $500 million valuation for his tech firm, and he walked away with a nice contract from the city of Houston school district for his sanitization product. That was in a matter of a day, but it took him a couple months to get built up. But he did that by just flying to Houston. He followed the process. Now his company is valued at $500 million. and his other company has probably like a $2 million contract with the City of Houston School District.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Folks,
in real time. Yes, sir.
folks, if you like what you heard, you need to tap on Coach Austin right now and see how you can reach out to him so he can help you to get set up. The money is there. The work is there. If you're wondering what you could do in this, in what we've been talking about today, Coach, is beware of internet financial advice. That's what we're talking about today.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God. Don't let. Oh, okay. Can I have another minute real quick?
You go right ahead, sir.
I've been kind of ranting on this a lot because I've been in business, y'all, for about 17 and a half years or so. I am in the internet space for about 2 of those years. Right when COVID kind of was hitting, we had a contract with Mitsubishi Caterpillar, and I was noticing this stuff was happening. And of course, things in China were going on. We were all talking like, what's the deal? And people were getting sick from everything from the Mitsubishi Caterpillar plant was coming from China. And people all of a sudden were just getting sick about something. Man, why are everybody getting sick? I got sick. I was in my bed for like a week and a half. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, whatever was in them boxes coming from over there was getting people sick, i.e., not too long after that, boom, COVID hits everywhere. So I couldn't fly, couldn't go anywhere, whatever. So I'm like, man, we got to go online with our business. Where do we go? So we sat down for like 2.5 weeks. And where is the business going? Where is everybody at? Okay, I got to get Instagram. I was already on Facebook. We got to get a Facebook business. And we just went there. And I started noticing all the church folks close your ears, all the bullshit people are talking about online. I'm like, this is not real. What are you talking about, people? And they got 100,000 followers and this and that. I'm like, oh my God, y'all insane. And you're not going to jail over this? So the internet advice is insane. So what I've been trying to do, Don, is just there's certain things you want to have, there's certain questions you have to ask people. One, how long have you been doing this thing that you're talking about? How many people have you helped in this particular vein? And how can you help me do what I need to do? Do you have expertise? Do you have clients like me who you've helped over time? You can't develop a business model in the middle of a recession and expect it to work. You have no beta testing. You have no, we don't do that. There's a lot of people here that have been pivoting from one thing to another, and then all of a sudden they're experts at it. That's not how business works. If you walk in any of these traditional business spaces, chamber of commerce, whatever, and you come up with a new business model, you better have it beta tested. You better have some type of subject peer review study, something for people to take a risk on you and say, here. That's why there's angel investing, there's venture capital, there's stages to getting your product to market. The reason why we were able to take our client so quickly is because I knew how to move him through those phases quickly enough. I got him in front of the right venture capital firm. They knew what his business plan was. They knew his numbers. He knew his stuff. He'd been doing it for a while. He hadn't hit the market correctly. So yes, this internet business advice, traditional business, ladies and gentlemen, please understand, is traditional business for a reason. This stuff doesn't change. The cycles of the market go up and down. They don't change. Technical analysis and how the markets move is always going to be the same as far as how they fundamentally move. In internet advice, you need to have the same business questions because you're still going to give them your money. And you have to trust that these people are doing what they're doing. And if they don't sound like me and ICE and Anaji and other people that we follow, be careful with that. Because if you can give me an office or you've been doing this for a minute, Dr. Travis Davis is on here. He and I work together on government contracts a lot. Travis has been on this for a while, for at least 10 plus years. I'm doing this for 17 years. You have to have, do not give your money to anybody who has not done this, and ICE will agree with me. If you have not done this through at least one recession, you can't coach nobody through this thing. Impossible. You can't because it's a different beast that you're going up against. And for me, I laugh at recessions because I know what's going to happen. I just know fundamentally what's about to go down. Yes, it's different, but you can't give a new internet person, especially an internet person, because that shit on the internet works fine. But when markets contract like what's going on right now, the internet mess don't work because the internet doesn't allow for market fluctuations. It's a good marketing tool, and that's it. I'm being honest with y'all. So please, if you do anything today, I'm so glad I didn't realize that's what the room was about. You have to qualify your people correctly. I have people hire me, they'll pay for a strategy session and I'll sit in with them to at least a meeting or two and I'll listen for what needs to be said. I'll be like your fake business manager. They don't know who I am. And I'll listen for what they're talking about and I'll qualify them for you. I'd rather you spend that money and let me help you or my team help you through the meeting process and qualify them. And I'll tell you, yes, I like it. No, I don't. Try this act, and I'll ask them questions. And if they can't answer me correctly, no, don't do that. Don't. I'd rather save you money, if anything, and we can go from there. So Don, I'm so glad you're having this room, brother. This is going to save a lot of people's heinies, if you will, and save your sanity in your bank account. Because a lot of people getting scammed on this app. And I'm starting to call a few people out because I'm listening to what they're talking about. And if it's not right, if you can't prove it and answer the questions that I'm asking you, then I would rather you not. And that's why I'm so big on our women. And I'll land here. Our women are taking advantage of quicker than men. And if you have the gall to take advantage of a woman in this marketplace, and she has a family and kids riding on her back, then you really got something wrong with you. So you have to face this veracity behind me. No, I'm gonna call you out and I'm gonna make you answer what I have to ask you. And if you can't, then I would kindly ask you to get off the app, get out of business so you can let somebody else do it better. And I'm being that real about it because it's serious. When I'm on Zoom calls and I see women crying and just defeated over being scammed over something or told the wrong information, and coach, I wish I had met you guys earlier. I don't like to hear that because someone was taking advantage of you. So yes, we have to be careful in this space. And the way to make money in this space is not hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's just you have not been exposed to the right things sometimes. And once you have, it makes it easier to follow a certain GPS. And that's it. It is it. You can, and don't take what I'm telling you as fact. Go research it. Everything I tell you, go find out for yourself. And you'll come back with, here we go. That's it, Don. Sorry. Had to go off a little bit.
Listen, man. That is beautiful. Listen, folks, you heard it here. You heard it that Coach will actually vet some of these people for you. I mean, that is a service well worth of the dollar spent so that you can know the truth. And folks, it's the truth that sets you free. And we got Miss Selma that just came to the stage. Miss Selma, we want you to come off mic and if you have a question or a comment, we would love to hear what it is.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you so much for the valuable information you share with us. I do have a question. So I'm a realtor here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And I heard your information. I heard you not too long ago. And I told my daughter, we need to sit down and you need to register for this because she just purchased a home in this high interest that we're having right now. And I said, you need to do this. And then I was talking to somebody the other day and it just dawned on me. I said, my goodness, I need to add this program to my precious referrals. It's what I call them, which it's a bunch of people and services that I refer to my customers. And then I was talking to somebody, and I said, well, you don't need to worry too much about the interest rate. You can pay off your mortgage, and I did use what you say in 7 to 9 years. And oh no, I already researched on the internet and it says it's a scam and this and that. And I said, you know what, I need to find out. And my question to you is, all banks allow for us to do this payment strategy that you share with us? And if so, and if not, is that a question I should refer my clients to ask, or maybe have a conversation with the lender that I work with to figure out what banks allow for this, or that would help me tremendously. Thank you so much for your time.
Ms. Selma, so first of all, I've got something on the screen right now. Okay. And we're going to handle that before I get back to this. Okay. Because this is a bigger question. Number one, people said that this is a scam. Let me show you one thing right now. I'm going to bring something up on the screen, on my screen, and I'm going to Google method so you guys can see it. Okay. So we're going to Google P.I.L.L method right now. There it is. Google P.I.L.L method. Now,
Quick question for you, sir. When
yes.
I try to follow you on YouTube and it's off, I get confused because I can hear you and then the YouTube, there's a little bit of a difference in time. What's the best way to follow you on screen live?
The best way is to have a different device that you're watching us on, like a tablet.
I'm driving now. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. But you can also watch the replays, Miss Selma. Okay.
Excellent.
And
Thank you.
Yes. So we're going to be on YouTube. So right now, folks, I have Googled P.I.L.L method and I'm going through the first page. Okay. Here's something that is very interesting. We take up the entire first page on Google. And when you look at, when you Google us, we're more popular than birth control. You don't see anything about birth control until almost page 3. Okay. So even on page 2, there's only one reference to birth control. That's how popular we are. Here's the next thing, Miss Selma. When you Google P.I.L.L method, and there are a lot of good businesses out there, folks, that people for some reason or another have something to say about how they do business. When you Google P.I.L.L method, you will not find one negative word from somebody who has actually used our service. Not one. Not one negative word. And the reason for that, Ms. Selma, is that everyone who does business with us, we vet them as much as they're vetting us. They have to go through a process. They have to fill out a form. They have to give us their finances. And for some people, we don't recommend our program. You cannot go to our website and buy our program. You can't. We want to make sure that you're going to be that you are going to be able to benefit from our program, or we will not offer it to you. We have turned down so many people saying you're not ready yet. We're going to help you to get ready. And when you are ready, you can become a client and benefit from this. And the last thing is each client gets a coach. Not just customer service that's open 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, but a coach that calls them at least every other week. So we give 8 coaching sessions away that are worth $1,000 each. We give those away with the program. So we have a 98% success rate for everybody. What about that comes on the clients? What about the 2%? Don, if it's 98%, why isn't it 100%? Because there's always going to be some that no matter what you do, just will not do the program. So, but for those who do, it works for 98%, and you will not find any negative information about the P.I.L.L method when you Google. So if that helps, Miss Selma, I hope it does.
It does. Thank you so very much. It does tremendously. Okay. Thank you.
And what Coach said, I started this business in 2006. Okay. Part-time. I was a firefighter for 17 years. Okay. And in 2007, I quit firefighting after 17 years. And the business was going well for about a year, Coach. What happened?
I know, right? Me living in my car for about 6 months. I understand that time period was rough.
After I told my wife this would work. So when Coach says, if a business hasn't made it through a recession, okay, because they got to know how to pivot. We made it through the recession. So recessions, they don't scare me either, because you got to read that book, Who Moved My Cheese? Okay. When the cheese moves, you got to move to find more cheese. Okay. And we're going to be able to help you to do that. Coach, thank you. Miss Selma, thank you. Whatever it is I can do for you, Miss Selma, you just let me know so we can help your daughter. And so what we do, folks, here's what we're also going to do. For our clients, we take them through and help them to understand what we do for them completely and answer all of their questions before they spend $1 with us. There are no surprises when you spend $1 with us. None. And here's the other thing. And Coach, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this. Miss Selma, here's something for you. We have a lifetime guarantee. What? The program must work for you. We do not put people in a worse financial position. They have to be in a better financial position. If you're following our program, I will guarantee your results. And there are a lot of programs out there right now on the internet that says, even if you follow our program, the results may vary. Even if you follow their program, they say the results may vary. Listen, I give you upfront. I'm going to tell you, we give you upfront what we're going to do for you in writing. Here's how much interest you're going to save. Here's the month, day, and year you're going to be debt free. Okay. If you follow the program, all of that information will be true. If I can't do that, if our staff can't do that for you, you get your money back. I don't care if it's 10 years from now. And folks, this is why when you go on and research P.I.L.L Method, we have an A+ rating with Better Business Bureau with absolutely no complaints. None. Are you hearing me? There are a lot of good companies out there that have complaints and they resolve their complaints. We don't have complaints because what we do, we guarantee our results. If I can't produce those results that we gave you up front, you won't hear any sidestepping. You won't hear any double talk. You won't hear any excuses whatsoever. You just get your money back, period. But
it's actually cool about your program, Don, that people maybe don't realize. And even like when Miss Selma was saying, the person she was talking to, was saying it was a scam, this, that, and the third. You're allowing people to do something within the banking system of that mortgage that the banks really can't stop. It's within their right to do so. You're just allowing them to pay it differently than the allotted schedule, which is brilliant and simple. The simplicity is almost brilliant in itself. If something is a scam, if someone ever tells you that, from Miss Selma, her daughter, or whomever's out there, the first thing I want y'all to do when someone says something is a scam, okay, really? Wow. Okay, I didn't know. Show me how. And don't say anything. And what they should do is they should take Don's P.I.L.L Method and show you how it's already been proven to be a scam by a third party verified source. Not by how they feel or think or wonder, none of that. I know that maybe your friend or your buddy or whomever is telling you this. This is my program, anybody's program. And if his program is a scam, that means that another bank, like a Wells, B of A, trust me. It's like how they canceled Kanye a minute ago. They would have canceled him a long time ago.
long
And
time
these
ago.
banks ain't gonna let you, quote unquote, utilize services that, because they make less money when you pay this thing off early. They make money on this interest like hell. So they would have gotten his rear end long. They would have hung him up by the stake, burned him, plastered him over CNBC. All it would have been crazy. He wouldn't be here talking to y'all right now. Because trust me, there have been bankers coming out of his room. I trust you. They've been recording, watching it, and have no complaints whatsoever. You can't equate what is unfamiliar with someone to a scam. Now, yes, are there scams out here? Yes, they are. And you can find out about them, quite frankly. Some MLMs are scams, some business practices are scams, some are just different. But his method and the simplicity of it is that you're just paying it down differently than scheduled. And the brilliance of it and the simplicity of it is he's showing you how to do it. And it's nothing, I won't say he didn't invent it, but he found that system. It's like, wait, hold on. And he put his sauce on it. And this is how you do it. And it's been going on forever. And you can put a 40-year mortgage, 50-year, whatever you want to do. Here's how you pay it off sooner. So there's no room for scam there because it's a genius product that no third party anybody has even refuted, close to refuting. If anything, they're very quiet. They won't say anything because according to the law, you can do that at any institution, quite frankly, because it's just it's a nice way to shorten your amortization schedule, quite frankly. Am I saying that right now?
You are saying it exactly right, Coach. Ms. Selma, listen, what we're talking about is there is not a bank in town that has a mortgage, okay, that you cannot pay off early. In fact, it's written right in the contract. If you look at your contract, it says you have the right to prepay. You have the right to prepay. It's your right. And once you read that, it's on the mortgage note page. You have the right to pay principal on this loan before it is due. All right. And you know how I know that's true? Because if you received an inheritance today and you could stroke a check for the remainder of your mortgage, is there a bank in this country that would not accept a payoff on that mortgage from you? Is there a bank in the country that would not take that check?
No.
Exactly. So if you can pay off all of the mortgage, why can't you pay off just a piece of it?
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Perfect sense. Yes. That's what I thought, but just making sure. Yes.
Well, that's quite all right. And listen, and what we're doing here, we don't pay mortgages off fast. We don't pay off debt fast. We pay it off cheap. If you do the right thing in the right month with the right amount of money on the right day of the month and attack the right loan, you can optimize the amount of interest that you save per dollar applied. Save more interest, get out of debt faster. Pay more interest, stay in debt longer, period. So our system is designed to disrupt the bank's timing in such a way that you're going to save the most amount of interest with the least amount of money applied. That's how precise this thing is. You know, we don't hit your mortgage with a sledgehammer. Ma'am, we go operate with a scalpel. That's how we do business. Thank you very much for bringing that to the stage. So folks, we had another question up, and I'm going to put that back on the screen here before we go. We've got about 8 minutes left, and we've got a question about the debt snowball, and I want to show you something about the debt snowball. All right, David Hunt asked about that. Here is a $10,000 credit card on my screen right now, and if you want to see this, go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn and search P.I.L.L Method, and it will take you to the live. All right, $10,000 at 27%. What? 27%? Are you kidding me? Yeah, 27%. And all credit cards are amortized over 240 months. So the debt snowball would say if you have a mortgage, okay, then you need to, because the mortgage is going to be more than the credit card, you need to focus on this credit card because it's the smallest one, totally focused on that and completely forget about the mortgage. That's number one. And the avalanche method also says that if you pick a loan, pick the one with the highest interest rate and attack that. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. The smaller debt as opposed to the larger debt. We're going to start there. Plus, we're going to start with the one who has the higher interest rate, 27% versus 6%. Now, everything that you've ever heard in the past says that. You need to focus there. Let me show you something. Because when you pay off a debt, what happens to all the interest the bank was looking for? Anybody on my stage, if you pay off that debt, all the amortization, all the interest the bank was looking for, what happens to that once the debt is paid off? Gone. Okay. So let me show you something here, folks. At $10,000, let me show you how much interest that they were going to charge this month on this. Okay. The interest only payment is $225. What? $10,000. The interest on that this month is $225. So if you pay off the whole $10,000 right now, you will only save $225. That's it. Pay off the whole $10,000. You don't have to pay the $225 in interest that the bank was looking for. How about that? So let me show you this. But that's interest rate versus interest cost. Interest rate, 27%. Interest cost, $225 because somebody did the math. Let me show you this mortgage here at 6%, $200,000 at 6%. Look how much interest you're going to pay this month, $1,000. How much interest you're going to pay the next month? $999. How much interest you're going to pay the next month? $998. The next month after that, $997. So here's what the debt snowball has you doing. It's totally focusing on that smaller debt, paying it off, saving $225 in interest, where if you prepay $200 on this mortgage, it saves you $999 in interest. Just $200 here saves you nearly $1,000 in interest. So folks, if you focus on the debt snowball and paying off all of these smaller debts and leave the mortgage to last, will you pay more interest than you need to, even though you're making progress in paying off debt? That's what we're talking about today. Now, let me show you what would happen if you took the $10,000 that you're going to pay off on the credit card, oh, Lord have mercy, and save $225. What would happen if you took that same $10,000 and put it on this mortgage? I need you to take a look at cumulative principle here. That is how much principal is paid down every single month, and we add it up for you. And you see cumulative interest, how much interest you pay every month, and we add it up for you. So if you go down to cumulative principal to $10,000, you go down to line 45. If you take that $10,000 and apply it to principal on this mortgage, you knock off 44 mortgage payments you never have to pay. And folks, you save $43,939.97 for the same 10 grand. So those gurus that are out there having you focus on the debt snowball or the avalanche methods, they work, but they're highly inefficient because no one is paying attention to how much interest you're paying as you use those systems. Our focus is not how to pay off the debt fast. Our focus is how to pay off the debt cheap. So we're going to instruct you as to where to put your money, when to put your money, and what month to do it in, what day of the month to do it on, so that we can increase the amount of interest you're saving per dollar. That's optimization, folks. And while we're on this screen right here, have you ever heard where people are saying, put a large down payment on a loan? Put a big down payment on the loan. Okay, I'm saying don't do it. Let's say you have an extra $25,000, okay, over and above what you need to get into this loan. And so if I put $25,000 down, I have $175,000 mortgage for 30 years, and I start out on payment number one. But if I keep my $25,000 back and I get the whole $200,000, do you know I still have the option to put my $25,000 as a prepayment on this loan instead of a down payment? And when I do, look at cumulative principle again, I could take that $25,000, add it to my first payment, and I'm scrolling down till I get to $25,000, and I take off 98 payments with that 25 grand. And I save $92,000 in interest, and I still have $175,000 loan. It's the same thing. Watch this. So if I take off 98 payments, okay, 98 payments, So let me put that over here. I'm putting my calculator over here. So we're going to take 98 payments divided by 12. Folks, I just took off over 8 years using the same money. I could put it down as a down payment and get a $175,000 mortgage, but I start out in payment number 1. Or I can get the whole $200,000 and prepay the $25,000 and still get to $175,000. But I start out on payment number 98, where I've just taken off over 8 years on a 30-year mortgage. With that $25,000 as a prepayment, I instantly turn a 30-year mortgage into 22 years. If I don't do anything else. Never, ever, ever, ever put a large down payment on a loan, on a mortgage, or a credit card. Folks, listen, I've been with you for 2 hours here. We're going to extend this. We're going to extend this over onto Sunday. We're going to be talking about internet advice. We got some really good questions. Bring your questions back if you didn't have a chance to answer them. And we're going to let everybody online go. And we're going to come back to Clubhouse just to say, so that our moderators can say goodbye to you today. Thank you so very much, folks. We're going to be right back here on Sunday. And at, 8:30 Central Time, that's 9:30 Eastern Time. We're going to be right back here. Bring your questions. Thank you so very much. We're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. Give him the last word. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L.L Method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to pillmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report today.